Spags, it just so happens that all of my monumental drafts occur on the Splash Play channel. Draft number 50 happened a week or so ago, and now draft 69 about to take place.
Yeah, so just draft 69 for Pete here. A very nice number to be hitting. Of course, we are already in our Best Ball Mania 4 room, as you can see. So we're waiting for a few spots to fill up here. And Pete, I do have a surprise for you as well. As I mentioned, one of our beloved regulars who you might remember from the Splash Plate channel, you might remember from a ship chasing appearance, sent us his proprietary data, Pete, for this show. It is, in fact, the Pillow Talk Above Expectations from our guy Mathology. So if we draft one of these players, Pete, I guess I'll have to move the screen and we'll have to objectify some ladies on Instagram who are dating football players.
Oh no, I am terrified. How involved is whatever Mathology sent you over? Does this involve multiple slides?
Okay, no, so it's actually just an Excel sheet. I'll show you guys what it is here while we wait for the draft room to load, so you guys can all play along here. Pillow Talk Above Expectations. So we have we have Allen, we have Herbert, we have Jefferson, we have Kupp, we have Barkley, we have Raheem Mostert. It's an eclectic mix and not all stars. It's like we have Tony Pollard's baby mama, we have Eckler. Like it's everybody everywhere.
The fact. And the thing that's so sick about this is I can tell that Mathology didn't just like whip this up for this occasion. It's that he's been maintaining this database. I just wait until Mathology takes my Fantasy Data Pros course over there and is now like using nice graphs to chart his Pillow Talk over expectation data.
You have to figure out if I should just be streaming the entire tabs here so I can make quick jumps. I don't know what to do. We'll figure out, though, how we can get these gals in the mix. And Pete, it looks like you're in the 8 hole. I'm in the 4 hole. So will we be drafting any of these guys?
I love that you just said with a straight face, we'll see how we can get these girls in the mix.
I want to make sure Mathology's work is properly honored here. He sent it to me. He was like, this is a special thing for Pete's 69th stream. So I can't let Mathology down. We know we support our regulars here as much as anybody.
Did you hear about, I don't know if you saw this in the Discord, but Mathology had this big project he was debating doing. Basically his neighbor, and hopefully I'm not speaking out of school sharing his story here. His neighbor like had a giant tree fall down and he has like a connect with some guy who, I don't know, owns a wood chipper, like carries logs away. And he basically was like, I can do this for far cheaper than the tree company will to come break this tree apart and ship it down. And he charged him exactly how much it would cost to max enter Best Ball Mania. So now Mathology could say he is free rolling Best Ball Mania after chopping down some trees. It really is an incredible story.
So Pete, you made your pick here, but unfortunately I have to do this because I'm going to do it this way, I think. I'm going to pull up my entire Chrome tab so we can see. Our first pick off the board goes to Anne-Marie Kupp, of course, Cooper Kupp's loving mother of, I think, 2 children now, I believe they have. But there we go. Nothing too salacious here, Pete. Just a man loving his wife and a woman loving her football player lover.
I can't believe that. I guess this does check out for this draft. And why you did it because you took Kupp? Or is it if you and I take someone that's on the spreadsheet, they get pulled up? Is that what we're doing?
I guess so, yes. Is there an A.J. Brown for you? Doesn't seem like A.J. Brown is a significant other. He's too busy working his way through the Philadelphia area.
A.J. Brown is married to Chipotle. That's his one true love.
I mean, honestly, you're going to get butt play. You're going to get it from Chipotle.
Oh, God. Bonk yourself. Bonk yourself.
I do. Oh, you know what? I do have a new bonk gif here, I think. Let me see. Oh, here's a big version, Pete. The bonk dog.
I prefer my version, which has you photoshopped on the dog that gets bonked.
Yeah, slightly better version, but I do have some new big gifts. Of course, Pete, the one that you love the most.
Wait, was it that the name of the commenter on the last show, Chunky Deuce?
No, I think it was, yeah, it might have been Chunky Deuce. And then this one, of course, Pete, that I think might be, actually, this one might be the most appropriate for this stream.
Only Spags, it's like, you got to keep these in the hopper for like a well-timed reveal. Spags is like, they're all in here. Might as well just show them all right now.
Because it takes work to put it together. Also, we have the community going here on Splash Play. Lots of fun. But Pete's on the clock. What are you going to do with your pick?
Yeah. I do kind of like Jonathan Taylor. Let's keep taking. Yeah. I'm going to do JT and AJ Brown. Couple grown-ass men.
Okay, let's see. Jonathan Taylor, does he have anybody available on this list? Nope. Really limited at running back. I don't know if
Yeah.
Pathology gave up these two columns here.
Well, do you know what I think Mathology says is that if he's going to put them, if he's going to put a wag on the sheet, they have to have legendary upside. And it's just not that deep of a pool. God, I hate that Mathology is forcing me into this bit right now.
Speaking of things, me being forced into things, both the Sam Sherman tweets and also this bit right now, Saquon Barkley, come on down. He's on the chart. Who is his significant other? Anna Congdon. Kongdong. Okay. She's working with him all offseason here, dealing with his contract issues.
You actually had me believing that for a second. I was like, is that his trainer or something? Oh, did they have a kid? How nice. I didn't even know Barkley was a dad.
Yeah. No, I mean, again, we see a dad out there. It's like, oh, great. Now you know he's a good guy. So that's, we didn't know that about Saquon until seeing that he also has birthed the child like Pete and I have.
Well, thank you, Mathology. I feel, in the same way, on your birthday, you feel good and everyone, wishes you a happy birthday. I feel that same joy of having my 69th draft, commemorated in such fashion. So thank you for all your hard work, Mathology.
You wanted to make sure you had something special for yourself here. And I get the Rams-Giants correlation with the two biggest stars on both teams, unless Saquon doesn't sign his deal, in which case I'll be screwed here. But let's see what else I can take. Really nothing too crazy at value-wise at this point. I don't want an unstacked Hurts, so whoever's waiting for that can get him back. Yeah, let's do DK Metcalf. Why not?
Back on your bullshit, DK Metcalf. Hang on, real quick, back to the Mathology thing. What do you think would be more disturbing if his wife just found like hard drives full of regular pornography or a link to this Google sheet? I'd argue the Google sheet is far more disturbing.
See, I think she would understand and be like, oh, this must be part of his professional ventures. Mathology has a lot going on in his work. So maybe it's like, oh, it's a spreadsheet. There's a classiness to it. And it's not like he's giving him ratings or anything. So I think he'd be okay.
All right. That's good to know. Stay safe out there.
How many BBMs have I done? This is number 73 for me, I think. So I'm trying to keep in the same pace as Pete is here, and I'll probably hit, I don't know if I'll do any during the week, but I'll definitely get my 75 in before July and then probably take the week off in Puerto Rico.
That sounds lovely. Let's see. For a second, I was like, should I get my first Calvin Ridley share? And I'm not taking Calvin Ridley at ADP. I just, out of absolute principle, refuse to do it. So I'll keep hammering Debo here.
I think that Calvin Ridley is an okay pick. I do think he's a little bit frothy, but like we've talked about when you mentioned last stream, like if you're taking Metcalf a bunch, you probably do have to take some Ridley. So I have been doing that. What is the reason you're down on Ridley though?
I think his ADP is like just ignoring a lot of stuff. And, the first being there is just a lot of risk about him being out of football for a year, stepping into a new offense. And people are just kind of directly extrapolating what he did 2 years ago. And again, I've read the article. I want to root. And this is so hard to give actual Calvin Ridley analysis while you're scrolling through.
Through Debo's girlfriend. So not even Calvin Ridley.
Yeah. How am I supposed to focus? And I do think people kind of projecting him to get back to the target share he had in his heyday in Atlanta, where it was basically just him and Julio Jones at the time, now in an offense with Christian Kirk, with Evan Ingram, with Zay Jones, with a couple good running backs. I just think it's a pretty big leap. And it's not to say he isn't a part of this amorphous tier that I consider goes from like pick 32 all the way down to where I drafted Treylon Burks last draft. Like I do think you can make cases for all of them, but I don't think like I would probably take like Treylon Burks, like fantasy points straight up over Calvin Ridley. Like I just think he's part of this big tier. And so having him at the top of the tier just means I'm not going to have a lot of him. Similar with the Barkley stuff. Like I think Barkley's fine, but I like Pollard more. I like Breece Hall more. And I like Ramondre more. So I'm just not going to have a ton of the guy who's the most expensive of a tier.
I think that's a fair way to look at it. I certainly like some of those guys in the range as well. I've talked about Christian Watson, who I do like a lot. Amari Cooper, who I think makes a lot of sense as well in some builds. Both those guys go here. But Ridley still definitely has some upside. Maybe he's just elevated Zay Jones. But what are you going to do here?
I know. I'm just really, should I just make today Drake London day? Should I just finally start catching up on my low Drake London exposure?
I mean, he played well down the stretch. A lot of things you can talk yourself into with London, even if he is probably a little bit too expensive relative to Burks and Pickens and all that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll grab London. It's like I like ETN and Gibbs, but I continue to have drafts where I'm getting those guys in the early fifth. And so I'm just gonna, kind of price control my exposure to those guys there, as opposed to drafting them at ADP and just keep hitting wide receivers here.
And here's how it feels, Pete, when you draft Drake London.
That is indeed how I feel. That's Arthur Smith showing us this. Whenever you draft a piece of the Falcons passing game, Arthur Smith pulls over and shows you his nude egg.
Oh God, just a great scene there. What's your favorite skit from this season, by the way? Because I feel like now we've had enough time to reflect. I know you've watched it all. I think you should leave. What's your favorite one?
Yeah, I actually haven't got to I watched it through twice when it first
Mm.
came out. I haven't rewatched it now in a little bit. I think my favorite, the one I think about the most, is honestly the Jason Schwartzman dinner party. Don't
Mm.
talk about my kids sketch. Then that turns into like what cool activities he is having the rest of the board guys at the party do. I don't know. Something about that one has been in my head for a while.
People think that's like a meta take on Tim's belief of like how he is, like his audience is, where like they're waiting for him to do the thing. I think that and like the ghost tour, I believe, is supposed to be like a metaphor for his SNL times. Those are like the deep cut subreddits of I think you should leave fans, so that they think they has like hidden meaning to those two sketches.
Wow, what think pieces are you reading? Is this like, are you on I think you should leave Reddit message boards?
The meta, I think you should leave. No, I just see it sometimes on Reddit, and I'm like, oh, interesting theory, I guess. So I follow the stuff because I honestly just like seeing the gifts in my stream any given day. So if anybody cuts through the noise with their weird theories, I'll give it a read.
What do you man, again, Reddit is one of those things. If I had an infinite amount of time in my day, I feel like poking around on Reddit for like 30 minutes would be fun. Do you do that regularly?
Oh yeah, I go on Reddit every day. I mean, it's weird because Reddit is to embrace my full stream 69 here. Weird mix of me of porn and actual content. So there's a lot of things in there that are like not things I want to open in public necessarily, but still enough that I think
Bonk yourself.
I'm taking Justin Fields here for the record. Does he have a pillow talk? Fields? No, Justin
You
Fields
would
just on the prowl, I guess.
don't hover over Natalie Locke for that long. This guy was relapsing.
Drew Lock made an honest woman out of Natalie Newman, so now she's back in play.
Maybe she could make an honest quarterback out of him.
It would be funny if this is the year that like Geno goes down or whatever, it just sucks in the beginning of the year and Drew Lock explodes and AR sucks and Drew Lock is like my king.
Hey, it could happen. It could happen.
I don't want it
I'm
to.
on the clock here. I was going to scoop TJ Hawkinson if he fell to me at pick 56. That doesn't happen. Debating if I want to do a second running back here. I do really like Kenneth Walker. I'll grab him here at pick 56. I'm just not as, when we talk about like not getting buried at wide receiver, you're definitely higher than me on Pittman. I'm like pretty indifferent on Marquise Brown, slightly below. I'm slightly above on Pittman right here. And then you can see I draft Lockett, Deontay Johnson, Mike Evans, Burks a ton. And so this has been just like a natural detour range for me away from wide receiver. But I don't know. It goes back to that thing too of like, I want to make sure sometimes I'm selecting a wide receiver there. So a lot of my teams aren't just completely exposed to falling tight end / Kenneth Walker or J.K. Dobbins, basically, which is normally the guys I might be considering there.
Yeah, I've started taking a little bit of Marquise Brown more. I'm still not a big believer in Arizona, and I do think that there's a lot more risk there than people account for with just them bringing Kyler Murray back. And if they do have Colt McCoy out there for too long, I just don't think it's going to work the best for Marquise Brown in particular. But I do think in this range, like I agree, I kind of fall into taking Hawkinson, taking one of the QBs or whatever, or just taking one of the receivers that I like a little bit more. So definitely being open here and being aware of your tendencies. It's probably easier for you because you're doing all the streams, but for everybody out there, we all have our tendencies and you kind of have to identify them and try to pivot around them once you start to get deep into your entries.
Yeah, and you can look at the 5th round wide receivers here. Chris Godwin. I like Godwin. I know Karane's really down on Godwin. I will admit too, he's not like a fun click. JSN is a fun click. Marquise Brown, not a fun click. Pittman, I think there's lots of questions. I wouldn't consider him a fun click. And I'm not saying bad or good pick. I'm just saying like what it makes you feel when you click them. Like the 5th round is fairly gross for wide receivers. Like, and I know this ADP isn't necessarily indicative of every draft or how this board has fallen, but it is weird how that works, where it's like, I like the 4th round and the 6th round wide receivers just as much as the ones that go in the 5th.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And Pittman, too, I will point out again, I will defend this guy. I do think there's a real chance for him to have that Devonta Smith role in the offense with how Shane Steichen's porting over a lot of those concepts. That said, Pittman is falling now in a lot of drafts. So I think trying to dollar cost him down for me will be the move. And if you want to try to get him as a faller, like he's cheaper on DraftKings, he's getting cheaper on Underdog as well. Pittman, I think you're not alone, Pete, and thinking he's an unsexy click. I wouldn't be shocked if he falls behind Burks and maybe even Deontay Johnson over the next few weeks.
I was going to take Deontay Johnson. There he goes. So I guess we'll build out our bet on Seattle here with Lockett. I'm trying to see if there's any other prime correlation that I should be prioritizing here. I'm not seeing anything else jumping out. I don't mind this price for Dobbins at all, but I don't think I'm going to like my team if I take a 3rd running back there.
Also, I should quickly do the plug here because Pete gave me all his advice about what to do for channel memberships, and I instead did the easiest possible thing here. You can now join on YouTube down below here on the Splash Play channel. What you do is you get a badge with a little Splash Play helmet. You also get access to custom emojis. So if you want to have the RB pig, you can hit, I think, just pig, whatever. But all stuff here, we're trying to build out the offerings on Splash Play. And the good news, Pete, the thing that I'm offering up, if people get a membership, I'll review all of your teams. If you just send me teams, you get unlimited access for me to give feedback, talk about your team. So the thing, Pete, that I've been doing for free for you.
I hope someone makes you regret that.
I mean, look, it's $4.99 a month. I want to make sure I'm giving adequate value back. We'll find new ways to do that as the channel expands and we get some more members in. But yes, unlimited access. If you want any feedback, I'll tell you what I think is good, what I think is bad. And now I'll only do it, Pete. I'll never do it for free again.
Wow. Incredible. So you're telling me, Spags, theoretically, if I became a member on the Splash Play channel and I've drafted probably over 300 some teams on Underdog this year, and I set a calendar reminder of like basically every hour of each day, I send you a different team. Like, oh, I drafted this one in the Superflex contest from about 3 months ago. Can I get your thoughts? That you are legally obligated to review every team I send you for $5 a month.
I'm not legally obligated, but I am going to try to. Yeah. I'm like, if it's look, I don't think we're going to have thousands of members. So if we have like 100 people on here that are a member, yeah, I'll review all your fucking teams and tell you who I think is good and who I think is bad.
I might have to become a member just to take advantage of this perk.
I am on the clock here before Pete takes advantage of my kindness. I did take Kyle Pitts here for the Chicago correlation. Waller would have made sense for me as well. Don't love this receiver pocket, I guess, besides Quentin Johnston. I'll take Quentin Johnston.
Don't sound so excited.
I like him. It's just like I take him too much in this exact spot where it's like I feel a little thin at receiver. And that's the kind of thing where it's like, these are my mental trends. I know for sure that I'm baiting myself into a little bit too much. But Quentin Johnston is a wide receiver forward. I guess I can't argue it.
Yeah. I'm going to see. I like Waller as well. This is a nice... The thing is, man, this is a super flat tier here as far as all these running backs. I am going to grab, I'm kind of with you of how you feel about Quentin Johnston, where I'm going to kind of just keep getting my Elijah Moore stuff. I'm now close to even with the field on Elijah Moore as I catch up after being low on him to start. Yeah, I didn't have anything screaming out to me there either.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a tough pocket, I think. So Elijah Moore, I have no issue with. Quentin Johnston, I have no issue with. But definitely this is a pocket where I could see why we usually do want to go on our running back runs at this point in the draft. And shout out to CLN joining here, and perhaps we'll send me 300 teams. So we'll see. Can we break me mentally for $4.99 for the cost of an extra value meal at McDonald's? You can break my spirit quickly.
And just know that Spags QA team, they do sniff out if you're trying to multi-account with your significant other and you're actually trying to get 600 teams in. It does have to be all from one account.
Yeah, send it as a screenshot. So that's the one rule. It has to be a screenshot. If you send me an Excel, I'm just going to glaze over and not be able to think about it. So it has to be
unless the Excel includes hyperlinks out to WAGs around the world.
Well, yes. Then now, of course, I'm on board. Oh, I haven't been doing my job. Do we have any WAGs that we missed here? No, you didn't. Okay. You might take Peoples Jones later. Oh, wait, Donovan Peoples-Jones is dating this girl who is an MMA OnlyFans girl. Oh, okay.
Great link here, Mathology. Glad you got this one in the hopper here.
I think that's her old handle because I think she now has a WWE name one. What is Lola Vice? Here we go. Lola Vice WWE. This is Donovan Peoples-Jones' significant other.
Okay. How is this relevant right now? Can we wait until someone drafts Donovan Peoples-Jones to do this?
I think it's relevant to the audience. I think I know our audience.
I'm glad this is on the Splash Play channel and not my channel. Speaking of which, because I have not gotten a chance to do any quality control on the Splash Play Friday streams. What has been the vibe of those?
Now that I built some good teams. I built Ravens and Lions, I think, last week on Friday. So check those out. I think they're worth binging and just putting on in the background, listening and falling asleep too would be the goal. But no, I've been drafting my teams. It's actually been a fun exercise, Pete. Like, I think the first drafts are always better than the second one. This week I actually got 2 good drafts in a row, and like people actually enjoyed the teams I built. So I think it's been a worthwhile experiment, even though like you're boxing yourself in with your streams. Spinning for a stack on a stream is really boxing yourself in.
How much have you found yourself are reaching to complete the stacks because it is the mission versus still trying to let the draft come to you?
A little bit of both. I do think more I've been kind of willing to wait a minute. So I should take my 5th receiver, right? No, I don't have any Dallas stuff. I'm going to take James Cook here. I think that it is certainly like you're reaching for some players sometimes, but then the room has sniped me enough times that I'm now not forcing it that much. I've been lucky, I think, to get some of the spots I have in drafts, but it hasn't been crazy. Like, I think I've still built logical teams.
Are people sniping your stacks just to dick around with you that are watching?
No, that actually hasn't happened. In fact, the weird thing has been that they've actually been allowing me to get players sometimes.
Oh, wow. Your fans are nice to you? Wow, that sounds nice.
Well, it's like our guy Alex Berg was on the Friday stream and I had Ravens and he was going to take, he's like, I normally take Tyreek at 3, but I'm taking Cooper Kupp here. So you can get Tyreek at 4. Those are the things that I wouldn't expect a kindness to occur, but did get a little bit of a kindness from Alex Berg and a few others that's come up for sure.
It's either kindness or they just kind of feel sorry for you, streaming on a Friday afternoon with nothing better to do.
That's probably also fair. I'll accept it. By the way, Spags Stacks will be going off this Friday again, so I'll hit 2 more teams and then we'll be off for the week. Hoping that the baby isn't incredibly annoying flying down.
Wow, way to throw that baby under the bus.
You haven't flown with April yet, right?
No, and I have no interest in doing so right now.
Yeah, no, I think it's going to be a tough one, but we'll try to survive. Oh God. All right, Juju here for wide receiver 5. I do still want to get my 5 before round 10.
Yikes. Hey, when I drafted Juju, I get roasted. Let him have it, guys. Let Spags know he's a wide receiver.
What's wrong with Juju? Juju is just Jacoby Myers with a little more money going his way.
Not as good as Jacoby Myers. The Patriots should have kept Jacoby. I think we can safely say that.
I mean, so it's a little bit tough to compare apples to apples, given that New England offense was what it was last year, and Kansas City's Kansas City. Juju was better in all the metrics than Jacoby Myers last year. Like, he was better in all the advanced ones and all the like target per route run kind of stuff. So I don't know that it's fair to say Jacoby Myers is better unless we're accounting for how bad that team was last year.
I mean, Juju was very, very bad down the stretch last year. I do agree he's going to be in line for a lot of volume. I kind of think. Hang on a second. I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to grab Njoku to get my double stack here with Deshaun Watson, because I basically want to make sure that I'm not forced into selecting Donovan Peoples-Jones, knowing that that's going to force another Instagram tab to be opened. That was my thought process there.
Does Njoku have anything?
Oh, God.
No, none of these guys.
What is the order of these? These are not by ADP either. Like, Noah Fant up there.
So this is Kyle Pitts. I did draft Kyle Pitts. Missed this one earlier. Okay. Oh, here's Kyle. Oh, look at
Spags. We can't see it because both of their faces are obscured by your video box. There we go.
So this is Kyle at his time off, huh?
What's so funny about this photo to you?
Does that aesthetic not seem a little bit like, I don't know, a little Urkelly for you?
Yeah, but I like that aesthetic personally.
I don't want that for my generational talent tight ends. I like this outfit.
That's a big bow tie.
That is a big bow tie.
Yeah.
This methodology wants us to objectify the women. We're like, boy, check out Kyle Pitts. What's he doing here?
I would appreciate if Mathology would sort his spreadsheet by ADP. I think that would probably help Spags going through the list here.
Yeah, actually, I need to keep the tab open on my laptop so I know which ones are over here, and then I can only click over if there's a player available. So I'll try to do to improve here. Yeah, okay. It's weird colors. What is going on here now?
Let's see.
Here we go. We're back.
I am debating, do I want to take 2 quarterbacks with the same bye week? I'll be kind of forced into what happened to you last draft, but I do have a fairly big bet on Seattle here with Kenneth Walker, Tyler Lockett. Nothing else is like screaming out to me. Like positionally, I'm very balanced here. I think I am just going to go ahead and grab Geno stacked up with Lockett and Walker. I needed redemption. Yesterday, I had a JSN Lockett team, got egregiously sniped by a user named The Chosen One. And today I am the chosen one, completing my stack with Geno Smith.
Geno with one of the biggest breaths of ADP, I feel like, where you get him sometimes at 100, get him sometimes at 130. But I think taking Geno, I don't mind it this year, even with Drew Lock breathing down his neck any moment now. He's going to take over.
You know what? I will say to that, though, it feels to me, I don't notice him dropping as much as guys like, an Aaron Rodgers, where there's really only one stack. Basically like the Garrett Wilson drafter has already taken another quarterback or whatever, and they just kind of shrug Aaron Rodgers at ADP. He can fall. The thing with Geno, though, right, is you have 3 different wide receiver drafters who are interested in him. Whether you take Metcalf, JSN, or Lockett, it puts Geno on your radar. So I don't know. I actually feel like his ADP has like a tighter band where I feel like he's always going like between 108 and 120. But he did almost fall to you in that one draft last week.
Yeah, and I've definitely gotten him at like late 120s, early 130s enough times that it's 6th to me. But I guess that could be small sample size stuff of boxing him out, maybe getting somebody who already has 2 QBs. Definitely a possibility. People do like Geno, though. I know that's certainly a fact. And Bindles, by the way, saying exactly what we're all thinking. Smash the like button, guys. We appreciate it here. Of course, Splash Play, fantasy football all year round. I will put up a GIF to indicate here you should subscribe. Hit the like button. Leave a comment down below. That GIF is so gigantic. How could you possibly ignore it? All right. I guess I got to get the Bears double stack with Darnell Mooney.
How do you play that with Fields? I'm in a Dalmatian draft right now where I did just the uber cheap Fields one where I did Cole Kmet and Chase Claypool. But I think any of the, I like DJ Moore, but I think there's so many different ways, similar with Anthony Richardson, where you can justify like a big stack or just a really pared down skinny stack.
I just think that if you're making the bet on the QB, like obviously not always, I'm not trying to alpha stack Chicago and I might not go further than these 2 guys, but like I do think you want to get at least a double with them because you are making the bet on the guy. And if somebody else is making that full bet harder than you, like you don't want to be behind them when you already made kind of enough of a bet. So I don't mind Mooney. He's not like, I'm not dying for him. I probably could have tried to push him, I guess, but what are you gonna do with your pick here?
Yeah, I was kind of looking at the board here. I'm going to grab a guy that I'm kind of surprised I'm just slightly underweight on in Nico Collins and get a 6 wide receiver here. I like Nico a little bit ahead of ADP, but I'm just not often selecting. I've kind of had to go out of my way recently to get some more Nico and Mingo, just because this is always the point of the draft where I'm pivoting over to select running backs. And so again, going back to that thing of, I like Nico, I like Mingo. Those are guys I want to have some exposure to. But if you're not consciously doing it, like if I'm just in like autopilot draft mode, I'm often not selecting those guys.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I sometimes take those guys if I have, like Tennessee, I guess, for Houston and Nico, or if I have Jacksonville, I'll take Mingo a little bit more. But both players certainly have roles or potential to have roles. And Nico, I think maybe a little bit overvalued to me compared to like John Mechie. But still definitely there. Shout out to Steve, by the way, saying, screw the chosen one. All my homies hate the chosen one. $20 super chat. We appreciate that, Steve. And Pete, there we go. I'm reaping the benefits of you getting sniped yesterday.
Yeah, I'm here. Steve, that was supposed to, my Venmo is open. I'm the one who got brutally victimized by the chosen one.
The community all suffered, I think, seeing you not be able to get Geno Smith at a discount. I mean, we all suffer when that happens.
Yeah, exactly. It was hard for me to let my guy A-Chain go by there. A lot of shaming of the A-Chain drafters these days. I've been noticing on Twitter. So I need
Yeah,
to
I don't
to
agree.
continue.
I don't know. Like, A-Chain is a perfectly good bet. I know, like, Mostert's cheaper and Wilson's cheaper, and like A-Chain has some flaws in the profile, but that fast and was able to have 20 touches per game in college, like, you just don't see that combo too often in an offense that, like, I think we all love. And I don't buy into the Miami regression stuff either. Like, they were so aggressive downfield. I don't think that they're going to get worse this year. I guess I believe a lot more in Mike McDaniel than it seems like some of the sharp people do.
All right, Spags, this seems like a time, in almost 20% of my drafts, I select Kendre Miller. If I'm ever going to balance that out with some Jamal Williams, it's going to be 10 picks past ADP. Here you go, Jamal. The swag daddy. Come on down. Is the swag daddy on the spreadsheet?
Let's see. Swag Daddy. No, again, only 5 running backs.
Only
here,
5.
So.
We're just tapped out.
So we do not have anybody there. We do have Deshaun Watson has a significant other who, bless her heart. But you did draft Deshaun.
Geez,
I'm on the clock here. We'll go back to Deshaun's significant other in a moment.
Let's not go back to that.
Let's get all of our inappropriate comments out of the way. All right. I'm gonna take Cole Kmet here. He might fall back, but I'll complete my Chicago triple here. We'll see what else we do. But of course, we have to get back to Deshaun Watson. Jilly, a nice. Oh, she cooks, Pete.
I'm not indulging in this behavior anymore, especially when it comes to Deshaun Watson. Already, like, I already feel guilt for having selected him in this draft, for even trying to profit off of him in a fantasy football contest. And now this is just like rubbing my face in the mud.
Is his foot not all the way in the shoe, or is that the or is that the background?
I am not enhancing. That's on you to figure that out.
Well, anyway, Deshaun, good for Deshaun here, getting a nice, honest woman who loves her father. I'm sure that father delighted to hear that your daughter is bringing Deshaun Watson home.
I wish. I'm going to ask Underdog to throw this draft out. I've never felt more gross selecting Deshaun Watson.
I think he likes that she's got some muscular arms to dig in deep with the massages. Yeah. Would be my thought.
I'm gonna try to transition us. If you guys would like to wear a Splash Play tank, you can check out our Splash Play merch in the Overzet.shopify store.
Yeah, it's a great merch there. I wear it sometimes on stream. Very comfortable, of course, like all the Overzet Shopify stuff out there. No better way to transition, Pete, right into an ad read from that quality content we were just doing.
There's only one way to get you to pull up from this bit, and that was with an ad read.
All right, let's see what we're doing on the clock here. A lot of QBs on the board. Yeah, never a good feeling when you spend 2 early picks on QB and then you see all of the fallers are QBs. I'm going to take Tyler Algier here, and we'll see what we get back on the other side. But again, have the Chicago-Atlanta bet. I have Kyle Pitts. I have the Fields triple stack now. So Algier makes sense in this build to build out my running back room.
I agree. I'm going to have an interesting choice here with my pick. I'm hoping that one of these next 2 drafters makes my decision for me.
Okay. I think that's fair. Are you worried about your Kendre Miller bags at all, by the way? I know we've kind of breezed past that.
No. Well, they didn't make my decision for me. I was debating between Devin Singletary and Jerome Ford. Jerome Ford really building out my Cleveland bet, or Singletary kind of paired with Nico with a Houston bet. I'm even on both those, 9.2%. Singletary, 10.8%. Jerome Ford. Let's go ahead and just grab Singletary. Am I worried about Kendre Miller bags? No. In fact, I'm excited about him. He is a guy where I'm okay. I think if I continue to, I'm completely willing to keep drafting him where he's going. And if I approach 25, 26, 27%, I feel pretty confident his price is going to rise at some point during the draft season. And then my bags will probably be packed and I won't be drafting him at like pick 100 or whatever. But at this price, I am very comfy continuing to select him. Although you can say, well, I just took Jamal Williams, but I never, Jamal Williams is off the board always way before Kendre Miller. So I decided to take advantage of that rare opportunity. But again, like my philosophy with the Saints, with the Bears, and the Dolphins, I think there is value in that backfield because of the ambiguity. And I do really want to be taking darts on almost all of those 9 backs. Alvin Kamara is the one guy I'm okay being underweight on. And the rest of them, I would like to be at least even, if not overweight on the field.
So Sam Duel here in the 12th spot, who I think we like, I think he's in chat, took Daniel Jones, of course, which would have been nice to have as part of my Giants Rams here. Took Matthew Stafford for the correlation with Higbee. So tough run on QB here, Pete. Or even Matthew Stafford going in the top 160.
That's what happens. Eventually these guys fall and then they start to look like nice values there eventually. And the room gobbles them up.
Stafford with Higbee, just not enough for me to take Stafford, but I guess, yeah, whatever. That's fine. I'm tilting a little bit inside. I really wanted to get Stafford. I'd never take Stafford, and this was the one time where I have some Giants built out to do it.
I'm sorry, Spags.
It's okay.
It kind of reminds me of the time I got sniped on Baker Mayfield, and you're like, what world do I live in where I'm upset about getting sniped on Baker Mayfield? All right. I was debating between Jerome Ford and Singletary. Ford comes back. I could also take Donovan Peoples-Jones, but I think I prefer just structurally how this is shaping up. I think I like the running back selection here more.
Okay. I mean, I think it would have been tough to go back to Donovan Peoples-Jones' significant other again to honor our guy Mythology. So.
You know how there's the ETR has the decision tree pyramid when you're on the clock and it's like ADP value, structure, player takes, correlation. On my personal pyramid is how do we not get the spreadsheet to come up anymore? And I am making selections. That's a lever I'm trying to pull with my picks.
It seems like a solid lever to pull, I would suppose. All right. So I have 4 running backs, 6 receivers, 2 tight ends. So should be done at tight end. Do you need another QB? Nobody makes the most sense at this point there. God, is a tough pocket for me. All right, I guess let's build out, Pete. Let's build out our Chicago bet. We don't have enough Bears. Let's get Deonta Foreman in the mix.
There you go.
God, this team.
One Bear in every draft.
Yeah,
do it.
Exactly. Roshan, definitely my favorite Bear. You know what's weird is Foreman goes the highest. I guess Herbert goes higher, but Foreman goes like 20 picks ahead of Roshan on DraftKings, which just doesn't make any sense to me at all.
Yeah. What are the other like big discrepancies? I hear you guys. I haven't been drafting over there, but I do hear chatter. JSN, I guess, is another one that's way cheper on DraftKings.
Alex in the 160s, sometimes falls to the 170s. So he definitely is one of my highest exposed guys right now. But there's a lot of them. Like the receivers overall are, 5 to 10 picks after ADP for the most part. And sometimes will fall even further.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, they're also giving out tickets now. So if you guys want to draft some DK teams, good time to do it now because they're giving out their free tickets and people are not paying the most attention to that stuff so far. You can't even build out anything with Pittsburgh late. God, this is brutal. I think I'm just going to have to take Ritter late. I will take Isaiah Hodgins here. I don't buy into the Paris Campbell steam as much as the public does. It's crazy, Pete, that he's up to 179.
Yeah, and it's so weird too because like most of the takes I would hear on the Giants are like, just take Waller. Don't even bother with who's going to emerge here or whatever. Like that was, I feel like the prevailing take of how people felt, and the ADPs reflected that. Jalen Hyatt's falling, Wando Robinson's falling. But now all of a sudden we have supreme confidence that Paris Campbell, and he's even like a player I like. He's been a guy I've drafted over the years, but I feel like we know what he is as a player. I guess I'm going to take Taysom Hill here. Taysom Hill with David Njoku. Come on down.
Do not have a single share of Taysom Hill so far.
In Best Ball Mania?
I don't think in anything.
Yeah. You know what? I've come around on Taysom Hill lately relative to his price dropping. Like when the big board opened up, he was going in like the 12th and 13th round. I now kind of like the risk reward proposition more. But why are you? I feel like I'm probably closer to agreeing with you than the Taysom Hill slappies, even though I've started to take Hill. Why are you fully out on Taysom?
It's just so much money going to Carr. Like, I don't think they can treat him the same way as they did Winston and Dalton, who were basically free roll QBs. Like I think with how much you're spending on Carr, you're going to have him out there for even more snaps. And I guess Taysom can still get the gimmick TDs, but they now have guys who are like, they have a lot of pass catchers. They have Shaheed, they have Michael Thomas, they have Olave. Reverse ordered probably be the better way to say those guys. But Juwan Johnson was good last year and certainly deserves targets. So it's not like it has been the past few years for New Orleans where, oh, it's like we don't have anybody to give the ball to. Let's give them to Taysom. Now they have a lot of guys to give the ball to and a QB who they're paying an ungodly amount of money to. So I think that's a tough two factors combined for Taysom. And, you know, I just don't see it the same way. I'd rather have Juwan Johnson, I think, than Taysom at tight end.
Yeah, I like Juwan Johnson stacked with Derek Carr. I think the thesis, though, and that was what I got hung up on first, is I think the path to him starting is very thin this year. But I do think, one, if there was an injury, two, if they continue to want to use him around the goal line a lot, like the upside case is there. I do buy into the upside case. I think it's fine being underweight him, but I do like grabbing him when he falls. I have lots of potential quarterback options for my third quarterback here. Do I want to take Brock? I've been trying to get more Brock. I have Debo at ADP. I was kind of torn because I was like, you know what? This seems like a good chance to get a CJ Stroud share.
Yeah.
Because I have Nico in Singletary. Here's my thought though. And the reason I did go this direction, I think Purdy's going to get more expensive. There feels like a lag in his ADP. There's a lot of positive sentiment on Purdy, similar to the Geno Smith thing. There's lots of viable stacking partners with him. I do think we're going to see Purdy's ADP jump up 2 to 3 rounds here. I don't think CJ Stroud's ADP is going to move up. So my thought is let's continue to get some more Purdy shares now while he's cheap. And then we can always get Stroud shares later because I don't see him moving up much.
Yeah, I think Stroud should move up a little bit more. I guess we probably need really good camp reports for him to do that. But he is like a locked-in starter who was, again, just like completely electric throwing the ball in college in a way that I think a lot of the guys in this range were not. So I still like Stroud, but I agree with your take that Purdy's only going to get more expensive now that we know he's healthy and he's already got some throwing sessions going. Mac Jones also getting more expensive too, so that's why I reached for him there. But I think this is going to be even though I have Fields, I think this is going to be a 3 QB build for me.
Yeah, I'm going to have to do some dumpster diving at wide receiver. I had Mecole Hardman queued up as a bring back with my Cleveland stuff. He is gone. I'm at 6 wide receivers now. I do like my 6 wide receivers, but positionally here, I need at least one more to get to 7. And man, I do not like this range of the board.
Well, bad news, Pete. Unfortunately, I did draft Mac Jones. Sophia Scott is Mac Jones' significant other. Seems like a nice lady here. Look, very, very classy gal, it seems like.
I like how you go to the most revealing photo, as you say, the most classy gal.
On the clock here, I just saw pink. I was like, that's a beautiful outfit. That's what I was looking for. Desmond Ridder will be my 3rd QB here. So Fields, Mac Jones, Ridder, both these guys have week 11 buys. And because I have, I don't really believe in the Atlanta offense and Chicago offense. So I talk about that for the week 17 picks, where if you're taking those 2 QBs, you want to believe in those offenses. So I'll take Mac Jones to pair that off.
All right, man. What am I going to do here? You know what? Maybe I'll do the thing. My God, that feels gross. Pat Crane always telling me to draft more Robert Woods. Should I get an unstacked Houston stack going? I just can't. I guess.
Yeah, you already have 3 QBs. I wish you didn't take Geno because then I would take Houston and then just actually get Stroud here.
No. Oh yeah. I mean, I totally could have done that with a Watson build, and I still even had Ridder in my back pocket too with London. So it is one of those things where it feels gross when the value pockets don't line up with your selections. And a lot of times I'm good at breaking ties in that favor of knowing like, hey, I have London, I have Debo, there are going to be guys there. But when you backdoor stack just by where their ADPs go, like you don't even know that Stroud is on your radar until pick 128. And so then like you've already selected Geno by then.
Yeah. I think Stroud now that Mac Jones has come up, Stroud is probably my favorite bailout QB because you can take Mechie, you can take Tank Dell, you can take Singletary, you can take, again, I wish Schultz were a little bit cheaper because that'd be the nice way to complete it off. But I feel like with Mac Jones coming up enough, like Stroud is now my official. I would plant a flag for him being like the bailout QB when you just get sniped everywhere else.
Yeah, I haven't been taking a lot of him. Like I said, I think I will start to get more of him as we go. I think it's just because I haven't been selecting a lot of Nico. Um and then it stinks that they're, I guess if that I do have a lot of teams where I've taken Schultz. I'm fairly even with the field there. I think I am going to go tight end. I'm going to end up with back-to-back 3-5-7-3 builds today, and maybe I'll get our guy Michael Mayer, who's too cheap. This is one of those spots where it's like, man, I could double stack Geno or triple stack him and tack on Noah Fant. Even with the correlation, I think I like Mayer just so much more as far as his upside at the end of the season. Wow, Stroud's still available as well.
People don't like Stroud, and I don't think it's correct. I don't know. I don't think Stroud should be leaving drafts not drafted, personally. I think he's a good enough talent, and that offense is going to be so improved. Again, a lot of San Francisco concepts coming over because they did hire D'Amico Ryans, and Slovic is their guy who was the pass game coordinator for San Francisco. Now he's their offensive coordinator in Houston. I don't know. I'll just plant a flag for Stroud. Like, he's not like an AR bag from here or anything like that, but I think he's a very solid player that people are just kind of blind spotted on.
I do need to just point out that the reason I took Michael Mayer in retrospect is that he correlates with Jonathan Taylor in week 17. That was the true reason.
I actually thought that was why you were doing it, but you just weren't saying.
It even slipped past my radar. I retroactively taking the correlation W on that one.
All right. I have a 3-5-7-2, I think, and I didn't take a New England running back. So I think this is a spot for a rare Ty Montgomery share receiver.
Wow. Oh. That's a click I don't think I'll ever make this offseason.
Really? I mean, I still think Pierre Strong is more appealing leverage against Ramondre, but I think Montgomery's got a shot to have a role if he can stay healthy for the first time in his career.
I will not disagree with that at all. I actually fully agree that he's going to have a role. I think it is a useless role for fantasy football.
In the 18th round?
Yeah, I mean, maybe you could sell me in full point PPR. He catches 3 to 4 passes, falls into an end zone a game. But I mean, what you're excited about with Ty Montgomery is if he's catching passes. And he's never been like a breakaway runner guy. Maybe you're hanging your hat on like them using some more gimmicky stuff with him around the goal line. I just think his profile, like of the other guys, like give me Pierre Strong, who I do think if Ramondre Stevenson got hurt, would have some pretty big upside getting 15 carries a game in that offense.
All right, so let's read out my final team here at QB. Justin Fields, a little bit of a value. Mac Jones, Desmond Ridder. So a 3 QB build, but I went so cheap behind Fields. I think it makes sense. Saquon as my anchor running back with James Cook, Brian Robinson, Tyler Algier, and Deonta Foreman. Receiver, Cooper Kupp, DK Metcalf, DJ Moore, Quentin Johnston, Juju, Darnell Mooney, Isaiah Hodgins, and Ty Montgomery, the illustrious Ty Montgomery. And a tight end, Kyle Pitts and Cole Kmet. Another weird build for me, Pete, but I don't hate the team. I feel like you might not like because the drop off here to Juju at wide receiver 5.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is a team where you feel weak at wide receiver. Scroll up. Let me see your running backs again. Yeah, your running backs are good and go up higher. And then your quarterbacks, Ridder, Mack, and who?
And Ridder, Mack, and Fields.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like you're definitely struggling a little bit at wide receiver there. I would have maybe. Did you do Claypool? Did you tack him on?
Did not do Claypool.
No.
Because I had Mooney and Moore and Kmet and Foreman. I had enough Chicago, I think.
Yeah, you probably did. I guess maybe like I take Mac Hollins as like another Atlanta bring back there instead of Ty Montgomery, maybe. But yeah, you already had a lot of Atlanta with Pitts and Algier. So
your team.
All right. My team, I continue to mess with. This is the third 3-5-7 build I've done across my last 4 drafts. It's something I've been messing around with, this idea of 3, but also getting a guy who has upside at the onesie position, so a little bit more expensive, as opposed to just the in vogue 3 punt QBs or 3 punt tight ends. So get Deshaun Watson, Geno Smith, and Brock Purdy at quarterback. Running back, Jonathan Taylor, Kenneth Walker, Jamal Williams, Devin Singletary, and Jerome Ford. Wide receivers, A.J. Brown, Deebo Samuel, Drake London, Tyler Lockett, Elijah Moore, Nico Collins, and Robert Woods. Tight end, David Njoku, Taysom Hill, and Michael Mayer. I like my correlation. The Robert Woods pick felt gross. I wish that was Mecole Hardman instead. Otherwise, I think I like this team.
See, I just wish you'd taken Stroud, because I think like with this team that you have where you have a good 5 wide receiver base, then the value would be like having another stack on top of that. So I don't know. Like that's to me the way that I think about it, like with the Houston stacks in particular. Because it's like you have your good base here. You have like guys like Brown, Debo, like whatever you think of those guys, like that's a good base. So the real value add would just be like really correlating with another QB, I think.
Yeah, but here's the thing. So I was thinking through that too, Spags, but I feel like I get the benefits of the Houston stack of them. Say they're an undervalued offense. Say Stroud is good. I'm getting the benefits of that through Singletary, through Nico, and maybe Robert Woods. And with the Niners, right? I don't have any other Niners to build out that bet with. Like, I'm not taking Jawan Jennings and whoever else. So Brock gets me that direct stack with Debo. And then I have to say to myself, even if I did go Stroud, how often is Stroud getting into my lineup above Geno and Deshaun Watson? If he is, I've probably gone wrong with one of my other picks where I feel like I'm making the bet on the Texans and I don't need that quarterback to do so. And whereas getting access to another stack with San Francisco that I wouldn't have had access to otherwise, I would have just had a one-off Debo. That was what I was doing. And I don't even think you're wrong. I think the Stroud stuff makes sense, but I actually feel like I was able to sneak in an additional stack had I not gone with Stroud.
I guess this kind of close the loop on it. I guess my question would be like, does Debo making a lineup mean Purdy's making a lineup? Because I don't think that's the case. Whereas like if one of Nico and Singletary, or I guess Woods and Nico, like any of those 2 out of those 3 make it, like you're probably getting Stroud making your lineup. But I
think
think
that's fair to say. Like if Debo has one of his like rushing games or whatever, but the thought with the 3 different stacks is that, the one game, if it's in 15, 16, 17, that, Debo Samuel catches 2 touchdown passes with Purdy. And you're trying to like, the other part of it, right, is you're trying to get a unique stack through to the finals. So the thought would be like, say Deshaun Watson and Geno, Deshaun goes off week 15, Geno goes off week 16. Deshaun and Geno are heavily represented in the finals. Then that Brock Purdy to Debo stack becomes very rare because a lot of teams didn't sneak that through. And then I can use the same logic for the Texans stuff. Like those guys can go off a week and you're really thinking about like the points above replacement for the position and the Watson, Geno, him superseding those guys in your lineups, I think is just a little thinner. And honestly, those Spags, I think you can make a case for both sides we're arguing on. The main reason I did is that idea of Brock Purdy's going to get more expensive. I've been playing catch up on him, trying to get my bags packed. And I don't think Stroud is going to be a significant riser. I think if you want Stroud stacks throughout the Best Ball Mania drafting season, I think you're going to be able to get them.
Yeah, Stroud probably, if he even hits an apex, is like 150. Whereas if Purdy hits his apex, it's probably close to Geno, I would think, in terms of like the, early 100s ish.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. All right. So there we go. There's the teams, guys. Of course, make sure you subscribe to the channel down below. Let me pull up the GIF one more time. Please subscribe here to Splash Play. Hit the like button, leave a comment. Again, don't forget to leave a comment on this video, as well as a video on Pete's channel where we went head to head on there. Comments on both videos will get you 2 entries into Pete's giveaway, $1,500 to 3 different people for when Pete hits 15,000 subs on his channel. And of course, Splash Play pushing towards 3,000 subs. And when we hit both of those, Pete's 15,000, Splash Play's 3,000, you unlock a special Splash Play drunken episode here, which I'm sure the people are clamoring for. Pete, give the plugs one more time. You're heading into the Discord for the Fantasy Life world a little bit here, right?
Yeah, that'll be at 3:30 p.m. Eastern. No club show today. As I mentioned, I'm on my stream scrambling to piece together childcare for April this week. And so having to pare back my stuff. So Fantasy Life Discord at 3:30 if you guys want to come in there for office hours. And then I will be back tomorrow for Best Ball Breakfast doubleheader with Pat Corain and Sean Siegel drafting teams number 70 and 71. Someone was asking me about my pace. I think I'm like directly on pace. I kind of think of the 4th of July as like the halfway point of drafting season. That'll give us most of July and then I think most of August. And yeah, I'll be at about the halfway point early next week. So feeling good about my clip.
And here we go. Jake pointing it out here. First time draft with you guys. Last time drafting with you guys. It's a fun time, Jake, here on our end. So hopefully it was a fun time for you. We appreciate all of you guys hanging out with us here. Follow Pete at Peter Overzet. Follow me at Chris Spags. Follow this show at Splash Play Pod to know whenever we go live. And of course, I'll be back on Friday here on this very channel doing the Spag Stacks one more time. Any final words here, Pete, as I pull up our outro?
No, appreciate you guys all hanging out, and definitely become a member on the Splash Play channel and take advantage of Spags' insane unlimited team review perk.
Yeah, please. $4.99 a month here. Hit the join button down below. I will review all of your teams. Send them to me on the Discord. Of course, Pete's Deposit Kingdom Discord. Send it to me on Twitter. Post it on the YouTube comments, whatever you want. Just send me a screenshot, and I'm happy to review all of your teams if you are a member. But we appreciate you guys hanging out with us. We'll see you guys again soon. Good luck drafting out there. Happy 4th of July, and we'll see you in a couple weeks. Bye.